The first thing, colleagues, that I want to do by this debate is to thank one man, it's not a woman, a man here in this room, because in this file he has played a crucial role. He has kept the unity of the 27. He has kept the unity between the three institutions, and everybody who works in Europe knows that it is not a small achievement. And for that reason, I want especially for his friendship, for his cooperation, to thank Michel Barnier, our chief negotiator in this. By the beginning of this debate, President, I want also to pay tribute to our British colleagues. Well, at least the overwhelming majority of them. I have to tell to them that they have always brought wit, charm, intelligence, some of them, and let's recognize sometimes also stubbornness in this House. And I think that I can say in the name of all of us, on all groups, I can only say we will miss you in the coming time and in the coming years. Especially you. So, Mr. President, let me be clear from the start of this debate. Today's vote is not a vote in favour or against Brexit. It's a vote for an orderly Brexit against a wild, against a hard Brexit. I will be very honest with you. If we could stop Brexit by voting no today, I would be the first to recommend it. But that's not on our plate today. That's not on our table and not the issue today. It is indeed a sad issue. Sad to see a nation leaving, a great nation, that all of us have given so much. I mean culturally, I mean economically, I mean politically, even its own blood in 2 world wars. It's in fact sad to see a country leaving that twice liberated us, twice given its blood to liberate Europe. And I think, Mr. President, in this debate, we cannot escape a key question. How could this happen? How it is possible that more than 40 years after, I think, an enormous, overwhelming majority of nearly 70%, I think, voted to enter into the European family, how 40 years later they decided, based on their sovereign rights, to leave this European project. I have to tell you that since the outcome of the referendum, and that's now more than 3 years ago, I have heard many opinions about it. Everybody has an opinion about it. Some people are saying, well, look, they are simply afraid, the Brits, of losing their sovereignty. That's the issue. But colleagues, what does sovereignty in fact mean today in a world that is completely dominated by powerhouses like China, like India, like the US, in a world where we have to challenge transnational problems like climate change and the digital supremacy tomorrow of China, today of the US? Let me say it maybe a little more punchy. What is in fact threatening Britain's sovereignty most? The rules of our single market, or the fact that tomorrow there will be maybe planting Chinese 5G masts in the British Islands? And the cruel reality that we have to consider today in this debate is that European countries have lost their sovereignty already a long time ago, and that Europe is just the way to regain that sovereignty in the coming years and the coming decades. There have been other people who told me and to Michel Barnier, look, you don't understand it. It's all about migration that Brexit happens. Migrants working in British hospitals, migrants working in British universities, migrants working on construction sites in London. While in fact, dear colleagues, these migrants are European citizens exactly like Britons and British citizens are, paying taxes to Britain and in fact contributing to the future of the British society. And then finally, there are other opinions, but I will be short today, for once. There are others who are saying and pointing the finger to us and saying, yeah, the reason of Brexit is simple. You didn't give enough to Mr. Cameron when he came to Brussels and when he requested new exceptions for Britain. Exceptions on free movement, exceptions on the question of the political union. Well, I have to tell you, Mr. President, and to the colleagues today as rapporteur, it's my personal opinion, that it's my firm conviction that the opposite is true. Brexit started not 3.5 years ago. Brexit started long ago. And I think personally that Brexit started exactly the day we started with giving exceptions, with opt-ins, with opt-outs, with rebates. And that's, in my opinion, the moment the union ceased to be in union. And it's also the moment, colleagues, that the discontent about Europe started. All these exceptions, all these vetoes make a union, in my opinion, not capable to act effectively, always acting too little too late. And it is, in my opinion, this lack of effectiveness that leads to even more discontent. It's like a self-fulfilling prophecy, with members one leg in the union and another leg outside the union, only looking for the advantages, not for the obligations. So, in my opinion, yes, Brexit is also a failure of the union. It's also our failure. We have to recognise that in this debate. And yes, there is a lesson to learn from it. And this lesson, dear colleagues, is not to undo the union, as some are arguing here. No, this lesson is, and that we have to learn from Brexit, is to deeply reform the union, to make it a real union in the coming years. That means a union without opt-ins, opt-outs, rebates, exceptions, and above all, without unanimity rules and veto rights. Only then we can act, and only then we will defend our interests, and only then we defend our values. It is this lack of effectiveness that is the problem that we have seen in Brexit. I have to tell you, and that will be my conclusion, Mr. President, that the last couple of days I received, maybe as you, hundreds of mails of British citizens saying they desperately want or to stay or to return. And I have to tell you, for once, normally it's easy with me, but this time I don't know what to respond, because it's not in our capacity to decide that. But that doesn't mean that we don't have a responsibility to make sure that the union to which they will return will be another union, effective and more democratic. So, and that's my last sentence as rapporteur, Mr. President, thank you for the support. So this vote is not an adieu. This vote, Mr. President, is, in my opinion, only an au revoir. Thank you very much.